Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, rulers, shills, desolate serfs, peasants, vassals. I am a useful idiot, and I would like to talk more about executive orders. I've posted a couple of videos already, and basically there's a lot of frenzy out there on YouTube and the rest of the mainstream alternative media, and they're all going apeshit about all these executive orders, and particularly the ones signed by President Barack Obama recent. And I get a lot of skepticism and a lot of disinterest in my videos when I try and play down the fear about these executive orders, because people just don't seem to really understand the full picture on these executive orders. And I wanted to bring it up because I came across an article that said that 900 executive orders have been signed since Obama became president. And so I read more about the article, and of course I was alarmed. I thought, oh, there's an interesting topic. If that's true, I really need to get on that. So I dug a little deeper and read between the lines and read the editor's corrections and everything else. And of course, it was way out of line and completely distorted. But unfortunately, just like with mainstream news, when you go to the alternative news, they're just as bad with agendas and fear-mongering. And so I wanted to talk a little bit more about these executive orders. Now, first of all, certainly Obama has some blame because he criticized the use of executive orders and how it circumvents the Constitution. And that's a very valid complaint against Barack Obama. But the fact is, he has to share that blame with the Congress, both Republicans and Democrats, because an executive order only becomes law if it is unchallenged by Congress for 30 days afterwards. So any of these executive orders that Obama signed, that Bush signed, that all the other presidents going back to JFK signed, could be challenged by Congress very easily, but they aren't. And but more importantly, let's go down a list, because now that I've done a little research and I have some numbers, I've got some information to present to you. So since Obama's been in office for 4 years, he has signed 133 executive orders. And people are very alarmed by a lot of them. But let's go back through the lineup. So before Obama, Bush was in office for 8 years, and he signed 291 executive orders. And before Bush, there was Bill Clinton, and he was in for 8 years, and he signed 363 executive orders. And then Bush Sr., he was just a piker. He only signed 165 executive orders during his 4 years in office. Ronald Reagan had 8 years in office, and he signed 380 executive orders. So Ronald Reagan actually has more executive orders than Clinton or Obama or Bush Sr. But the big daddy, the Mac Daddy of executive orders is Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Now, granted, he had 4 terms, but he signed 3,728 executive orders. So he is still the reigning king of executive orders. And also important to me is to point out that one of the reasons why I'm not alarmed by some of these executive orders by Obama and their continuity of government and their supposed takeover of all of our infrastructure and communications and transportation and everything else is because we have exactly the same sort of executive orders put in place by JFK back in 1962. And I've included the links below for some of these JFK executive orders, so you can see they're just as scary as the ones signed by Obama. But the fact is, they only have so much meaning, and they're nothing to be afraid of right now. As I've said in other videos, if the day comes when all these executive orders are put into place and we act upon them, then yeah, it's going to be a bad day in America. But trust me, the executive orders are going to be the last thing you have to worry about when that happens. So anyway, that's my new spiel on executive orders, because I really get a little tired of seeing all the histrionics and all the fear-mongering and all the scare tactics and all the scooping going on by the so-called alternative media on YouTube and everywhere else. Sometimes they're just as bad as the mainstream media. So anyway, there you go. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.